Yeah, for sure. So I I guess the big question that I had kind of coming out of investment banking was whether or not to go down the private equity route or the public markets route. And um, for me in particular, I chose the public markets route because for two reasons basically. One was you know I was initially interested in business and finance because I thought of it as kind of the gateway towards understanding how the world worked. And I thought, investing, you're basically learning about how different businesses work. And, as a result of that, you kind of learn how the world works. So what was really important to me was trying to get as much reps as possible. So having a breadth of experience in terms of learning about as many business models as I possibly could. And I thought that being in public markets, a lot of it is churning through new ideas, and as a result of that, you benefit from learning about a bunch of different businesses. And if you contrast that to private equity, where you're kind of only looking at a handful maybe of potential investments in any given year, but you're getting very, very deep into the weeds on them. I was more interested in kind of the high level picture of how different businesses worked, and seeing a bunch of different types of businesses all around the world, as opposed to really getting into the deeper nitty gritty, understanding 5, 6 businesses in a given year. So the breadth versus depth, I was more on the breadth side, and that's one of the reasons why I chose public markets. And then the other reason was, I was very interested in understanding why a good investment was a good investment. So that comes from sourcing ideas, right? So under looking around the world, trying to figure out like why certain businesses or certain securities are good investments, and as opposed to sort of executing a process and seeing at the end whether or not it's a good investment. So what I'm trying to get at is I think that public markets, what I thought at the time was public markets was a lot about trying to source ideas and less about executing, which is executing is simply buying the security, and you can buy anything that you want basically. Whereas in private equity, it was a lot of you can only sort of buy what's up for sale, and as a result of that, you kind of spend a lot of time executing a process on what is up for sale, as opposed to going out and trying to find what is an interesting thing to buy. So so if I were to summarize that, for me, I was interested in investing because I thought it was a gateway towards understanding how the world worked, and I thought public markets in particular was the right place for me to pursue that learning, because one, you have more breadth, so you can learn about many different businesses, so you get a lot more reps, and then two, a lot of the job is really sourcing and figuring out what makes a good investment. So as opposed to just executing what is potentially up for sale. So if you're sourcing a lot more, you can kind of you be a little bit more creative and look around different areas of the world to figure out what is a good investment. And so those are sort of the reasons why I chose public markets.
I love that answer.